wherever you're watching us from. It's time for Press Review here on Luntha television, a program that will give you some of the stories that are making headlines as far as the daily papers is concerned. And for today, will be with me, King Mech Kamendo, and my colleague. So I'll be taking you through the daily times, whereas Jacqueline will be taking you through
the nation.
Okay, so ladies first, you may start.
Gorilla accused 13 on Christmas Day. The story has a subheadline as the country reports 235 new cases in a day. Part of the story, 13 people have died from Gorilla on Christmas Day as the case surge continues in the country. Minister of Health, Kombisi Kandudashipunda, said in a statement released yesterday. She said the 6 deaths were reported in Nilongwe, 5 in Luntha, and 1 each in Mangochi and Loa.
Okay. On the front page of the Daily Times, there is another story which says flood threat grows bigger, and it has a caption which says Mate extends warning to Northern Region. And partly the story says the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services (DCCMS) has issued a warning of floods in the Northern Region and the lakeshore areas due to heavy downpour yesterday and today. This comes after the department had earlier warned that flash floods could be experienced in the Twin Shire Valley district of Chukwawa and Msanje and some lakeshore areas. And in a statement issued yesterday, quoting DCCMC's notice commissioner for the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, Dodma Charles Kalemba, says Malawi Defense Force, Malawi Police Service, and the Malawi Marine Department search and rescue teams have been engaged in the wake of the expected flash floods and the strong winds that could cause loss of lives and property.
On the second page of the Nation, Apple says that 20 Alliance just on paper. The story, part of the story rather, leads Alliance for Democracy AFO President Enoch Johana says Tonsi Alliance as a governing entity is just on paper as there are no defined roles for the partners. They say the situation is making it difficult for the other 8 parties to effectively contribute to the running of that government.
Okay, on the second page, HRDC vows to push for stipend for the elderly, and the Human Rights Defenders Coalition, HRDC, says its first assignment in 2023 will be to ask government to fulfill its promise made during the election campaign that it would be giving a 30,000 kwacha honorarium per month to the elderly. HRDC Northern Region Coordinator Warita Mkandawile said this during an interaction with elderly people at Borero Trading Center in Rompe.
Okay, I'll take you through the last one of the national stories. Local businesses insist on refugees relocation. Part of the story, Small-Scale Business Operators Association has insisted that government should relocate refugees and asylum seekers to Taliga refugee camp in Doha and not allow them to continue operating their businesses. In a written response to a questionnaire, the association's Secretary Tennyson Molimbula said the refugees and asylum seekers are making the business environment unconducive for them.
Okay, my last one as well as far as local news is concerned. Council, their parents in inclusive ECD, but the source says Mango District Council Chairperson Ivy Sunday has appealed to parents of children with disabilities to embrace the concept, of early child development ECD centers, saying the facilities remain crucial in child development.
You can take
maybe business news. Yes, let me start with the business news, and I have one here which says RBM Counts Policy Gains Still Cautions, and it says the Reserve Bank of Malawi RBM has attributed last month's slight ease in headline inflation to monetary policy intervention deployed recently, which it says is a base for optimism going forward. However, in its November 2022 market intelligence report issued last week, the central bank says the outlook remains mixed as an elevated inflation risk is still imminent.
Small-scale traders, women marginalized. The story has a sub-headline, Travag says trade regimes sideline small-scale traders. Part of the story, an analysis by Trade and Law Center, Travag, says that preferential trading regimes are benefiting large and established traders compared to small-scale traders, thereby fueling informal cross-border trade in Malawi and other COMESA and SADC member states.
All right, my last one, as far as business news is concerned, Chikoti retires at Mazim after 24 years of service. Medical Aid Society of Malawi Mazim Chief Executive Officer Sidney Chikoti said he is retiring from the insurance firm as a happy pension, having contributed to its growth. Chikoti announced that he is leaving the society during an annual general meeting held on Friday in Luntha.
Prolonged electricity blackout holds firms. Large and small-scale businesses operating in Malawi have had little or nothing to smile about in the ending year, as business was sluggish due to the power outages the country experienced and continues to experience. The prolonged power outages that reached a climax in the second quarter of the year saw desperate businesses producing below their optimal capacity while spending more to run their machines on generators.
Now, turning to arts and culture pages, Faith Musa in Bridging Generations Enterprise, and it has a subheadline which says peace with Ben Mankamba. And the part there, the story is saying singer and guitarist Faith Musa has fashioned a concept that will see him bridging musical generations with an aim of preserving sound and also giving people fresh instinct. Faith, who has just returned from the United States of America, USA, where he attended a fair play gathering, said yesterday that the whole project is titled My Music Journey.
Moda revives gift for Mulani. Part of the story, when Mibawa Television announced that Moda for Mulani would headline its weekly Saturday Night Live music show, no one knew what to expect. Come Saturday night, the young man jumped on stage around 8:30 p.m. and dedicated much of his time performing his late brother's music with passion. Modest stage presence, interactions with patrons, and voice projections boost confidence and experience.
All right, my last one, Kofewa Robotics member arrested for intimidation, and the story is saying police have arrested Kofewa Robotics leader, Iman Shaib, for intimidating and misconduct. Shaib, who is currently in police custody at Lumbas in Longwe, will answer charges of intimidation and conduct likely to cause a breach of peace, according to a statement from Lumbas Police on December 18th, 2022. Kufua Robotics members alongside Shaib went to Corporate Society of Malawi Kosoma offices in Longwe to claim their 2022 royalties for their 2019 film titled Town Monga.
Entertainers Promotions brings Big White Party. Part of the story, Entertainers Promotion EP will hold an all-white party at Amaryllis Hotel in Luntha on December 31st, the first of its kind since the COVID-19 pandemic. In an interview yesterday, EP Managing Director Dundurai Banda said that preparations are on course and people should expect more from this year's White Party to be spiced up with music performances from various artists, assorted food and fireworks.
All right, now turning to the very back page for local sports, Noma's calling, and it has a caption, Wanderers coach Lawrence Tadzia, and partly the story is saying, Mighty Mukulu Wanderers have turned their attention to Flames defender Lawrence Tadzia, who returned home from Jordan last month. Tadzia, who was one of Malawi's revelations at the African Cup of Nations finals in Cameroon, confirmed the opening discussion with Wanderers. And Tadzia has also been linked with moves to either Wanderers rivals Nyasa Big Bullets or Silver Strikers.
I'm the best ever, says Gaba. Part of the story, South Africa-based forward Frank Kabadinho Hango has joked about being Malawi's greatest of all time. He said this on a lighter note when he was asked by Kickoff.com if he felt he is Malawi's greatest footballer. The Flames hitman was quoted as having said, "I am the god of Malawi."
Okay, my last one for local sports before we move on to international. Minister calls for sponsorship hike. Youth and Sports Minister Richard Banda has asked the sponsors of football competitions in the country to consider increasing prize money. Banda said it is worrisome that teams continue to invest in competitions only to get a pittance of winning titles. Says, for instance, some teams spend at least 5 million kwacha to fulfill an away fixture, and so for the whole season, you see them getting 15 million kwacha as champions, and that cannot develop the game this way, he said.
Bingo Stadium finalized. The story has a lot of pictures. Part of it, saying thieves have hit Bingo National Stadium BNS again, adding to his spate of vandalism incidents that have affected the multi-million culture facility in Norway. A tour of the facility by Malawi News Agency established that the most affected parts are the toilets. Thieves have stolen some doors and water taps, as well as mirrors.
Alright, let me take you through my very last story, and this one is sports but an international one. It says Wolves sign Cunha on an initial loan from Atletico Madrid. Wolves have signed the Brazil forward Marcus Cunha on an initial loan deal from Atletico Madrid. Cunha, 23, will officially join the club on January 1st before signing a permanent 4-year deal at the end of the season. He is the first signing made by new Wolves manager Julian Lopetegui, who took charge last month.
Well, I think that is all for today.
Yeah, that will also come to the very end indeed of the program. Please review here on Luntha television. Remember, we have just looked some of the stories that are appearing in both papers, The Nation as well as the Daily Times. For today, you've been with me, King Mech Kamendo, and my colleague
Jacqueline Saidi.
Continue enjoying the rest of our programming here on Luntha television. Good morning.